Hi, I'm Matt, and I run How AI Works, where I help thousands of everyday professionals learn how to use AI to save time. In this video, I'm going to introduce to you the new Claude Fable 5 release. We're going to discuss what this model's good at, whether or not it's worth the absurd price, and if this model release is something that you, as a professional, should be worried about. Let's start by taking a look at some of the online discourse surrounding this model. From initial viewing, I think most people really like it, but let's find out why. Okay, so right here, I have the Claude Fable 5 and Claude Mythos 5 announcement page up. Today, we're launching Claude Fable 5, a Mythos-class model that we made safe for general use. This Mythos-class thing is a way for them to say that it's as good as Mythos, which if you don't know what Mythos is, I made a video about it, but it's not technically the same thing as Mythos because Mythos has the ability to do some cybersecurity stuff and some stuff that most average people shouldn't get access to apparently, and so they nerfed Claude Fable 5 to be a Mythos class model, but not Mythos itself. All right, so let's take a look at what Anthropic is saying. Fable 5's capabilities exceed those of any model that we've ever made generally available. It is state-of-the-art on nearly all tested benchmarks of AI capability, showing exceptional performance in software engineering, knowledge work, vision, blah, 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 blah. The longer and more complex the task, the larger Fable 5 leads over the other models. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And this is explaining, Fable 5 is like nerfed in the cybersecurity and the biological areas for safeguarding and making sure that like people can't get access to that information that might be dangerous. And also says, they're giving Mythos 5 to a small group of cyber defenders and infrastructure providers. And now let's read this really important portion over here as well. It says, Fable 5 and Mythos 5 are being offered at $10 per million input tokens and $50 per million output tokens, less than half the price of Claude Mythos Preview. You may be saying, wow, it's so cheap, it's less than half the price of this. But there's something that you need to understand. This pricing over here is going to become a reality for more people than not, because later in this article, it also explains that you won't be able to access these models on a subscription anymore. And I made a YouTube short about this as well, but it seems like more companies are moving towards this API pricing, which makes sense because they need to make money because the margins they have on some of these things are really bad. But I think that it's going to be harder more now than ever to access the best AI, the best frontier models. And this is just like the first step in that. If you want to learn how AI works and how you can apply it to both your professional life or your business, please check out my website, matthewferrose.com, where you can click on this I'm Ready to Learn link and book a one-on-one AI coaching call with me. I've been doing this for the past year and I've had a lot of clients with a lot of success. I also host events in person, so if you're interested in bringing practical AI education to your audience, please feel free to reach out to me as well. So of course, we have the Claude Fable 5 and Mythos 5. It's showing off the, quality of the model. Oh wow, it has really high numbers. Really good. It still will probably mess things up and it's not 100% there, but the numbers are high, so that's good. You can see in terms of accuracy versus cost, the cost per task is most expensive over here, but it's also the most accurate, which makes sense, right? So we're at a level now where you're gonna have to be paying that bill to get to that 30% correctness, 30% whatever. It's gonna be really tough. And a lot of companies are feeling this squeeze. Claude Fable has the highest success rate on Sweetbench Pro and Frontier Code, and it's also able to do some very surprising things. And I just want to play this video for you right here, which is Claude Fable 5 can beat Pokémon FireRed just by itself. This is it actually playing an entire game using a Claude controlled machine, and it just goes out and does it. Like, I'm going to skip over here so I don't have to watch the entire Pokemon gameplay, but you can see here, it beat the game in 50 minutes. It used all these Pokemon. It used, what is this? Like one of the worst Pokemons. I don't forget his name. Like Oddish? Radish? Something like that. I think Radish, right? Okay, now you may be asking, why is it important? Why does it matter that Claude Fable 5 can beat Pokemon FireRed? Like, who cares, right? Well, I think that a AI model being able to complete a game or a task like this that humans would usually take like a lot of time doing is kind of really impressive, because remember, it's using just the screenshots and just the trained information on whoever played Pokemon in the past, on whoever made the decisions in the past to beat Pokemon FireRed, right? Whatever training data it had, and it just went out and did it, right? So like usually when you're using a model like this, or when you're trying to play a game or something like that with a model, it will get stuck in a certain area. It won't be able to progress, it won't be able to finish. The way you used to test models is through games, and now they're not doing like simple things like Pong or simple things like move the character. Now they're literally going out and beating more complex, more like really difficult games, I would say. But also Pokemon FireRed, you can probably beat like as a kid, right? If you just pick the right Pokemon, you pick Charizard and you spam, I don't know, Flamethrower or something like that. Maybe it would be good, but who knows? Like you can see over here, it did pretty well. Like I don't know how to explain it. It was able to beat the game. It's very impressive. But okay, so that also means that look, it was able to actually play the game for a long time, and it was able to improve its outputs using its known notes, and it also was able to beat an even more complex game, or not beat, but play a really more complex game called Slay the Spire, right? And like, dang. That's crazy. Like Slay the Spire is not an easy game to play either. And I know if you're a professional, you might be saying, okay, who cares about games, right? Games don't really matter. But I think that games are one of the best ways to signify in the model's intelligence of something, right? Like being able to play chess at a high level, that's something that a kid can do, but it also means you have to be super intelligent as a kid to memorize and understand how to play that game. So the most important thing really is here, this availability portion. So it says, Claude Fable 5 is available for everybody, but Mythos 5 is restricted to Glasswing partners, right? That makes sense. But it also says here, we expect demand for Fable 5 to be very high and very difficult to predict. On the Claude API consumption-based enterprise plans, Fable 5 is fully available from today. For subscription plans, we'd rather give access sooner than later, so we're rolling out more conservatively in stages. From today through June 22nd, Fable 5 is included on Pro, Max, Team, and Seat-based enterprise plans at no cost. But on June 23rd, we'll remove Fable 5 from those plans. Using it after that will require usage credits. If capacity allows, we'll extend the included window. After this point, when sufficient capacity allows us to do so, we aim to restore Fable 5 as a standard part of our subscription plans. We intend to do this as quickly as we can, right? So this, I don't think, is any sort of promise. They're not saying anything. There's no actual date, but this is an actual date that we got to watch out for. If you are somebody who is really interested in AI and you want to figure out how good this model is, you only have, as of today, till June 23rd to use and test out this model. And the fact that it's only till June 23rd, which is not a lot of time, is really funny because it just makes it feel like everybody's kind of in a frenzy now to spend a lot of money, use these models, hype up these things because it's going to get taken away from us. And guess what's also coming up soon, right? The Anthropic IPO. So who knows? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't care about any of that stuff, but it seems to make a lot of sense that a company like Anthropic would have this be limited to June 23rd. And now you might be saying, okay, why is this important? Well, it's because I don't think I'm ever going to pay actual full pricing for an AI model at this cost, right? I better be doing work that actually costs or makes me thousands of dollars back, because that's how much it will cost to run this model, right? Think about it. If you're working on some sort of small task or small hobby task, right? Using this model will literally just waste money. And you don't want to be developing for the sake of developing with a bill that high. At least I don't have that sort of money to just spend thousands of dollars on side projects. If you do, let me know and then send me some credits my way, and then we can work together maybe, you know? So something else that Claude Fable 5 is really good at is this idea of game creation, right? And I know I talked a little bit about Pokemon FireRed earlier, but it looks like people have been really pushing Anthropic's models to build out really great games. And like, listen, I am not a game developer, but I love games and I love playing them. And it just feels like, okay, games are great, but who here has been showing off things that Claude can actually do to, you know, make you money, to help your business out? I think that like the way for people to judge models using games is a little bit flawed because, again, being able to render games like this, super cool, super awesome, but it doesn't really do anything for me in terms of helping me advance my career, helping me as a professional, like, you know, get a new opportunity or anything like that. Like, I think these models have gotten so good where people need to justify their costs, people need to justify their usage by creating things that are more creative like this, right? Because nobody really cares if it can do Excel faster, right? It's more visually like fun and stimulating to see how an AI model can create a beautiful game like this. in terms of the bigger picture, sure, Claude can create some games, but how does it do in terms of writing code, and how does it do in terms of creating useful things? Also, I hope that guy doesn't blow up the villagers. Oh my god! All right, so we know how people who want to create games and want to create cool demos feel about it, but what about people who are actually using this tool more seriously, right? Like expert programmers like Antirez, who created Redis, which is a software that literally, I don't know, all major software companies like Instagram, Facebook, Google pretty much rely on. I won't get too much into what Redis is, but safe to say, this guy is a legend and you gotta listen to him when he says stuff. So this is what Antirez had to say about Fable. While Fable is too limited in the amount of tokens, speed, and refusals, it is truly a pretty impressive increment in capabilities. It clearly allows to do things that before were impossible. It is a lot like talking with an expert programmer in terms of more general ideas. Even the same thing faster, accessible, and without the refusals is going to be next step for automatic programming, especially if the same capability model from OpenAI or DeepSeek or Google will provide more feedbacks instead of working in solo mode. Especially, Fable is impressive in doing this that are very underrepresented in its dataset. The model is generally much better to reason about any kind of code, but it's kind of impressive how you can point to something very niche and see it delivering. The fact that he's saying that about this model is kind of like where my North Star is, right? If this guy is saying, okay, this is a model that you got to be using, you got to try it out, it's really impressive, I think that it's something that you need to try out and you need to start using. All right, so I got a chance to actually start building with Claude Fable, and I really think that in terms of the quality of generation, it was very high, but I'm still not completely sold on the idea that this is the best model and this is going to change software engineering forever. A lot of the outputs I got, like, again, it's just standard web design where I'm creating something that looks really great, but it's not that spectacular in terms of changing the way that I'm going to do work forever, right? Like, we're already at a level where models like Opus 4.8 are really performant and really efficient. And the fact that it built a website like this is very impressive, but for me, it's not something that's going to change my life completely. So let me full screen this and show you guys some cool things, right? This is a website I built to help people check in on a beach house that a client of mine owns. Like, for example, over here, the client has some house essentials and some things that they wanted to mention to the clients, right? And here is some more information about entertainment and fun. Something really cool that I think Claude Fable was able to do is actually pull out all of the links of these recommendations for restaurants, for gems and groceries and stuff like that around the area. So as you can see here, right, like this link will actually go out and go to the website or, you know, whatever the business that is running. Let's say like you want to go to Daddy-O's. Okay, you can go here. Cool. It actually grepped all the internet and figured out how to link these pages. I think that's something like Opus 4.8 would have been able to do this as well. But again, it did it pretty efficiently and pretty fast, and it didn't really have any problems, and that's pretty exciting. So also the way that it created these cards, like really beautiful. You can see property is stunning, right? It just did this everything on its own. And now customers, if they want to leave a review, they'll have the ability to do that. So I think, yes, this is a big incremental step in terms of getting the Claude and like AI models like better at what they do already, but I do not think that it has redefined the concept and the idea of programming with an agent just yet, right? So like if I was actually paying money for this, I don't know if I would pay the API pricing for this because it's good, but it's not going to change my life completely. I think I have to get some more technical projects under my belt in which I'm creating software that people are using, people are interacting with like constantly, that I'm making money from in order to really justify my usage. But for now, like, I'm editing my websites. Like I have my How AI Works website page. I did some work with Fable to redesign it a little bit to make it a little bit more fun and optimize the SEO. Like we'll see how well this performs. But other than that, I think that it's a good model. But again, it does not change the way that I'm going to do work forever. And I'm not always going to jump for this just straight because it's Fable 5. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know that Fable 5 is a really exciting and really like awesome release, but I also don't want to oversell it in terms of how efficient it is, how expensive it is, and what people are excited about it about. Creating games is really cool, but it's really not that important in terms of figuring out how the model is actually going to perform or how it's going to improve your life or save you time or anything like that, right? If anything, when I was using this model, it felt a little bit slower because it was just doing more things, which is good, but sometimes you just want that speed from something like Composer or something like GPT 5.5 Fast to really get things done quicker. So with that, I would say try out Fable 5 before it goes away, because this is again the frontier level of intelligence, and I hope you learned something. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out.